and welcome to MotoGP Mac, where MotoGP fans come to congregate and fanboys fear to tread. By the way, before we start, I have to give a Brass Balls Award for a guy named Yami Noob, who's the largest influencer of motorcycles. Came out with a podcast that said Japanese bikes become unreliable without us realizing it. Goes through, and it's all true, and it tells you showing how they're cutting they're cutting product down. Now they're hiding their things breaking down. Um,
Mm.
they're trying to influence people to like Fort Nine and them. They try to send them money so they don't give their
They try to
bikes
force you
good
to,
review. They haven't won a
yeah,
review for motorcycles in the past 18 years straight. Um, and they're in big trouble. Even this happens in the last 2 years. Good dealership, great service department, backed up 300 bikes, okay, in service. Can't get the damn thing, the bike inspected because the Japanese have so many recalls that we can't get anything in.
right.
Like this Hornet
Crazy.
that's coming by, they don't tell anybody. Guess what the damn
Yeah.
thing's, it has excessive wear. Guess what it's from, ironically, on the Hornet?
Well,
The rings are too small.
okay.
Man,
Uh,
what do you do there? They started
I
out
know.
making piston rings, by the way, Honda. You know that?
Yeah, yeah. I know. It's kind of crazy, but like I suppose that's the way the world has gone in mass engineering, right? Like
Yeah, but the Europeans aren't doing it. The Europeans have gotten better than the Japanese.
yeah, yeah. Look, they have, um, but still, look, the Europeans aren't pushing anywhere near the sort of volume of bikes that the Japanese are, right? So even like yeah, while the quality control is there in some aspects, I just think the sheer volume of those bikes going out, even buying in the metals for the pistons and engines, they're looking at pricing um far more, scrutinizing the pricing far more than the Europeans probably are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I
they're,
so
they're
look,
getting better
and I
metals. I think they're cutting the metals down for the products. I mean, I'm
yeah,
not saying
yeah,
Europeans like KTM has been a problem, but
yeah.
in general, if you have a European bike has a problem, it's like a tail light. If a
Uh,
Japanese bike has a problem, it's an engine or transmission is blowing up. You know what I mean?
well, talking about engine problems, I noticed you hear that KTM have actually come out and said that there is an internal engine part problem on the MotoGP bike that's causing the bikes to cut
Yes,
out.
yes,
So that's it's kind of for KTM, it's kind of a little bit of a PR disaster. Do you know what I
yes.
mean? Especially with what is going on. No, I think they were forced into saying it because of Costa, which I suppose I'm really intrigued why KTM are still trying to appease Costa so much. Like he's gone. He's in
Yeah,
Ducati next year. They're letting him ride the 850. Do you know what I mean? They're giving him they're giving him experience of an 850. They're giving him experience of the Pirelli tires. They're giving him experience of a whole lot of things, and I really can't fathom why. And then they're kind of how to say how to say is like they're really babying him, like, oh, he was complaining about the problems and like all this shit, like you need to talk to KTM, and they're coming out and admitting it. If I was
maybe they're
KTM,
trying
I'd
to
be,
shake that reputation. They say they're ruthless, which I never thought they
mm.
were. Never considered them any more ruthless than anybody else. I mean, as far as hiring and firing riders.
Well, I would say they were a lot more ruthless. Like I would say they're far more ruthless than Yamaha and Honda. Do you know what I mean? Honda just won't talk to you if they're firing you. Do
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yamaha will stick with you
yeah,
forever
yeah.
and forever and a day. You know, Ducati. I've heard it through the rumor mill is that Pecco chose to leave.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are saying, that they signed a Acosta to replace Pecco. and or sorry, they signed Acosta. Therefore, there went no. I've actually heard it through the grapevine that it was Pecco decided that Ducati maybe wasn't the place for him anymore. That bike was going in the complete wrong direction of what he needed. Um. So yeah. So
I thought that was a given, being that he signed with the Aprilia so early, or supposedly signed with them so early.
true, but like again, Aprilia announced Secchi way too early. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, I don't know what. Like, I just find like pretty weird what they're doing with Acosta, KTM. Giving him some insight into what they're going in. Like, remember these riders, right? They remember feel. They remember what's gone on. Like, he got on that 850. He was downloading everything that they were doing, and you can be guaranteed that the minute he went into his hotel room, he started writing down this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? On a blank non KTM piece of paper, so that he will remember when he goes to Ducati and throws his leg over the the Ducati, he'd say, "Oh well, the KTM engine is much stronger." Do you know what I mean? It was like this, it was like that. You know what I mean? And he'll be able to compare what's the good bits and the bad bits. Now, saying that,
But you know what? Being the new rule, which I don't believe in next year, is that everybody has to share their settings. What's the difference?
it, I can
I'm
share my
surprised
settings.
nobody's hit the roof over that.
But like it's completely irrelevant, really, right? I can share my settings with you, Jake, right? But the two of us ride different. We approach it different. You know, um, the bikes that we ride, while they're similar capacity, size, length, aerodynamic, downforces, whatever, they're not the same. They never will be the same. Do you know what I mean? And like I might go a half a mil higher on a spring than you. Do you know what I mean? And that completely changes the dynamic of these bikes. These are how finely tuned those machines are. So realistically, it doesn't matter a fuck what settings you share. Like you could give every rider Mark Marquez's settings for Saxonbury. No one would be able to touch him
But
on it.
that's different. His riding style is so different than everybody else's that won't work for everybody else.
But is Acosta. Like you look at Acosta going into a corner, he turns into the corner so much earlier than the other. He wants the bike to understeer and then drive out of it, right?
Yeah,
There's no one else does that. Do you know what I mean? Mark goes into the
right. But that's the
corner.
same situation. But most of the riders ride the same style. So I don't
I
think they
don't think
should
so. Like you look at Alex
same
Rins,
general
right?
style. Let's put it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but again, but like we're talking general style to get them into 1 second. We're talking individual millimeters then to bring down those seconds. Like you look at fucking Alex Rins, right? He's like riding a fucking motocross bike. The fucking handlebars and that fucking thing are so fucking wide. Do you know what I mean? It's again, it's gonna change. It's gonna change how the bike adapts, feels, the whole lot. So you know, I'm delighted. One thing I love about MotoGP is that the rider of that bike is the critical difference in what happens. The bike can be good, and the rider might be shit. He ain't gonna win. You know what I mean? The bike might be shit, and the rider might be unbelievable, and he's fucking thereabouts. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting. I also think it's interesting. Mark said that he's going to focus on the summer break to 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 kind of like heal and repair and get stronger and this, that, and the others, you know. And then Pecco was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go on holiday,"
Yeah.
right? It was just like, and then to find out, Pecco actually went for arm pump surgery
Yes.
last week.
Yes.
I was a bit kind of like, that's interesting. Do you know what I mean? Now I suppose look, it happens to everyone in there.
I think Aprilia is going to end up with a short end of the stick with that deal with Pecco.
Pecco?
Yep.
I don't think so. I think I think he'll go well. Like
I think he's done.
I don't think so. I think I just think he can't feel that front end, and I really genuinely think that's the crush. Like Pecco will carry up to like the Aprilia's really started. Gotta think Pecco was one of the ones that was carrying an awful lot of speed through the corners. That was all feel on the front end. You could feel what he was doing, and for me, it seems that he's losing that front end feel, and that, like then what he's doing is like he's trying to push a little bit harder through it. Then he's coming out of the corners and he's fucking spinning up the rear of the bike. Do you know what I mean? And bang, he's gone. Talking about someone who's fucking spinning his fucking wheels. What in the name of good God has Maverick Vinales fucking done? Like, what a fucking stupid move. Like, if you don't know Gunther Steiner, right? Like, he will fucking shoot you. Like, he will. Like, he fucking will. Like, I don't want to ride this bike. Fine, fuck off. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean? That's his attitude. Do you know what I mean? I'll find someone who wants to ride the fucking bike. Do you know what I mean? Don't
yeah,
fucking threaten me. And in
yeah. This is
Sachsenring,
MotoGP. We have other people who want to be on here. You know what I mean?
yeah. This is not fucking club racing where
Right.
you might be one of the best riders in the thing, but um, and then like Pit Byra was trying to be a little bit political and be like, look, we got it, and like I can understand Maverick is pissed off, right? Maverick was told he was going to the factory team. They issued him a contract, and apparently, and Maverick signed it, and he sent it back to KTM, and KTM then eventually turned around and said, "No, you've no contract actually with the factory team; it's void." Now, I'm like, okay, but they still wanted to keep him in the KTM family, and they wanted him to run in Tech 3 again, based off a semi-factory deal, and he's lost the fucking plot about that. Do you know what I mean? And he started all this shit, a similar sort of shit that he was doing in Yamaha. Do you know what I mean? Throwing his toys out of the pram, running around the place in last position. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then blaming the team. He's like, I need help, and the team are turning their back on me. Do you know what I mean? And you're like,
yeah. I know. I know. He just everybody's
I said,
arguing with him.
yeah, and you're like, grow the fuck up. Like, you
Yeah,
know what I mean? You're a grown ass man now at this stage. Like, you're not a young fella that's just got off a fucking Moto 2 bike and needs an arm around the shoulder. Like, you need a good
yeah,
fucking kick in the ass, or fuck off the super bike, or fuck off wherever, or
yeah.
just be
Let's
like,
face it, they're not rocket scientists. If they weren't riding a motorcycle, they'd be on the back of a garbage truck. You know what I mean?
look, yeah, look, like, I don't want to insult anyone's intelligence, but I just think, you either want to be there or you don't. Do you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
just because you're not getting what you have or what you feel you deserve, right? Your results aren't fucking amazing. Do you know what I mean? If you had amazing results and they were like, "Oh, we don't know where we want to put you," yeah, you have a right to be pissed off. But realistically, you're offered one of fucking 20 seats in the world. Do you know what I
Right,
mean? Or whatever the amount it is, 18 or whatever. Count yourself fucking lucky, like, do you know what I mean?
right.
But I just thought that, like, he's actually damaging his own stock value by whinging so much, like. So yeah, I just thought it was pretty interesting. Um, I'm kind of looking forward to. I'm kind of looking forward to the end of the season. If I'm honest, I can't wait to watch Jorge Martin's face when he throws a leg over the Yamaha. Kind of say to myself, "What the fuck have I done to myself?" And that's coming from a Yamaha fan, lads. I
Yeah,
I I I, I think it's just going to be a very very tough period of time for him. And I will admit, like, as well, about Mark. Yeah, Mark has got himself back into the championship. Bezzecchi, it you couldn't script what's happened to Bezzecchi, like, and before anyone says it, I still don't believe for 1 second that Mark Marquez is in Bezzecchi's hands. Bezzecchi is just, I don't know what he's overriding. Like
yeah,
the
yeah.
crash in Saxon Ring, overriding, complete overriding. Do you know what I mean? Uh, the crash in Aston, again. went in just that little bit too hot. But like he was fucking haunted that he wasn't seriously injured in Athens. You know what I mean? And then obviously the suspension. But you know, I still think the championship is a long way from over. I think Bezzecchi is out in the championship now with the double break in the collarbone. I,
Yeah.
I see that in a couple of weeks. I think Martin could be critical. Like Silverstone coming up, I'm definitely looking at Agura could do something big time.
I'm gonna say
You
I
know
can
what I
see
mean?
Agora because I don't see I don't see Martin setting the world on fire.
Yeah, but we know the Aprilia is quick around Silverstone. You know, in its current size. Like remember, Bezzecchi won
Yeah.
there last year. You know, um, so it will be interesting to see coming up what happens there. Um, so it will be interesting to see. Obviously look. There's a few tracks that favor Mark. There's a few tracks that favor Martin as well. But then the other kind of question, like where Martin's strength is that he's been here before, battling for a world championship and stuff like this. So, um, I like still don't rule Mark out. I still don't rule Jorge Martin out. Agora is coming very, very quickly. Could you fucking imagine if he won it and took the fucking number one plate to Yamaha?
Yeah.
Be just like for fuck's sake. Um, yeah, it's crazy. But look, I think Mark at Saxon Ring was Mark. No one really could touch him. Even the weekend before, you know,
He could have
in
went past
Brno
for
and
Saxon
Assen.
Ring.
Oh, he could have, but like Mark openly admitted this that the biggest thing he learned from Rossi was to win the race at the slowest pace ever.
Yeah.
That's how you win races. You don't win races by going 100% flat out every lap
Yeah.
because you lose concentration, focus, and you crash. You know? So um yeah, it's just really weird. Um Joe and Mir to Grassini as well. I think that's a great move for him actually. I think
Well,
it's a great move.
I've never seen him try so hard.
Hmm.
Have you? I think about
My
it.
my my
Even when he
respect.
won the title, he backed into it. He backed into that title, right? But
Yeah,
this he's trying hard this
yeah,
year. He's busting
yeah.
his
Well,
hump.
look, he definitely is, and like as I've always said it, like I will 100% back someone that's crashing every weekend, but they're near the pointy end of it. Like, what's the point in riding around in 10th and 15th fucking
Yeah,
place? Like, do you know what I mean? I would prefer to be up in fifth place crashing. Do
yeah,
you know what I mean? Being competitive. Do you know what I mean? But again, like, it's a very weird thing with Honda. Like Honda stopped talking to him. Do you know what I mean? And nothing about next year, and he decided to jump ship.
yeah.
Now,
I
look,
think
we all know.
they're doing the Honda's doing Honda. They're looking for the rider to. They got Fabio, and they're looking for the rider to carry the whole team.
Hmm. I wonder really, are they going to look at a young rookie coming up for the factory team? Like I wouldn't necessarily be too surprised to see Marere in there. Like, do you know what I mean? I think he's done really well as a rookie this year. You know, uh, and then they bring up someone else into the LCR team. Zarco might be back to Silverstone or just after it. No, Cal Crutchlow is riding at Silverstone, I believe. So it might be just after Silverstone. He doesn't need to have surgery on the ACL. Or if he has, he doesn't. He can ride while in recovery, which is uh, always probably a stupid idea. But, motorbike riders like to ride bikes, uh, or MotoGP riders, should I say? Um, but yeah, so look, it's interesting. And then we had some testing this week of the 850s. and they're within 2 seconds now of the main bikes. Where I was looking at how interesting it would be is that Max Biaggi was also there testing in Aprilia, the X bike that they have, kind of like hybrid
Yeah.
MotoGP thing, he was running Pirelli SC0 tires, which obviously are different to the MotoGP tires, or what they will be. But he was lapping around 5 seconds a lap off Bulega um, on those. Bulega could be a very big threat next year in MotoGP, and I
Who?
tell you that Bulega.
Gulaga. You think so?
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't see that. I don't see it, but
He is doing majority of the testing for the Ducati 850cc.
hmm
So he knows Pirelli tires. He's
right.
tested and developed the bike. You know what I mean? Like in December, like it's 95% there that he is going to be riding in VR46 next year, right? So he's going to be on the grid on a bike that he knows very well. You know what I mean? That he's developed. He understands the Pirelli tires. Like a lot of the first races in next year's World Championship are really going to belong to people who understand those tires. And if and I think
I don't think he
Bulega
has.
by
I don't think he has. I'll mark my words. I don't think he has the skills to be uh, credible for next year. I wouldn't bet on him.
I think he does. I think he genuinely does. I think I think I think the fact that he understands the Pirelli mentality, and you could
So
clearly
does
see
so does
that.
Top Rack, and he don't seem to be setting the world on fire.
Yeah, but he's on Michelin tires now.
Oh
That's a big
yeah, I
difference.
know. But then he's had a couple spins around there. Didn't he test the Pirelli tires on the Yamaha?
No,
He
yeah.
did.
Oh, he did the first run on it. Yeah, yeah. But again, like it will be interesting to see. Like Bulega was faster than Pedrosa. Like Bulega was fastest on the test. It was a timed test. Bulega, I think, was fastest from Danny Pedrosa and all of that. Um, so for me, I don't know. I think if he is on the grid on the Ducati, not saying that he will be, not saying that he'll be first place, and no, I'm not saying that at all. But I think he'll be a credible threat to be high up in the championship in the first few races, and he'll definitely be dangerous in the first one or two races until the riders get their head around how those Pirelli tires last, because he's gonna have a massive memory bank of all of these tires. Do you know what I mean? Whereas the lads are coming off of Michelin, learning how to learning how the Pirellis work, how they feel. The man already has that somewhat dialed in. You know, I think Top Rack should in races, if the Yamaha is any good, right? That's a big if. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? If the Yamaha is competitive, then Top Rack would keep that advantage as well. But like you could see it with Ducati, like there, who was it? When Mark was out, they bought, what was it, Mark or someone, or I can't remember. No, what's his name? Aldegar was out. Remember they brought Iker Lecuona in to run a race weekend, and they
right.
didn't do Bula. So like, why would you bring second or third place person from World Superbike in the championship in, and not bring the fella that's in first, clearly leading? You know, there's no problem. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I genuinely believe that they didn't want to confuse Bulega with Michelin tires. Do you know what I mean? They wanted to keep him on the fucking development program. Um, so for me, that's where I genuinely think he could be a bit of a. I'm going to say a dark horse. Do you know what I mean? Is he going to win? Probably not. Is he going to give some impressive results? Because remember, when he comes in, he'll be a rookie. He
Yeah.
never made it to MotoGP. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah,
I think Fabio is going to do better than most people think. I don't think the Honda it made a jump and then it went stagnant. Uh, so they hopefully they get light a fire under there to make the bike a little better for him.
Well,
I think he's going to be like the old fighter saying, "Will over skill." You think he's going to
yeah,
will that bike to get some good results next year?
I think he will as long as Honda back him. And we've seen it with Hondas where they don't really back their riders.
Yeah,
Um, like and a lot is going to change next year as well with Pucci moving on and all of this. Like, you know what I mean? So a lot of the team dynamic is going to change next year. So it
but
will be interesting to see
he's their golden boy though.
who he's their golden boy until he stops performing. And
Yeah,
and that's
well, they're
you know
all that way. I mean,
they're all that way. But like remember, like when who was this? Lorenzo went to Honda. Do you know what I mean? He was a golden. Now he was in Mark's shadow, of course,
right?
but he was still a golden boy. And then very quickly he couldn't get his head around the bike. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And they dropped him like very quickly. They dropped him like a hot snap. Whereas you could
Yeah.
be you could be you could be in Yamaha and they'd still be throwing the arm around the shoulder. Do you know what I mean? Saying, "Come
Yeah, I
on, you're
remember we
all
used to
right."
joke we should get him Lorenzo. We should have got him a gold wing because it's going to show it. Might as well make it comfortable as he comes around last. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, so I think it's going to be pretty. Silverstone will be pretty interesting. Although, as I say, Silverstone is definitely not my favorite track. Um, it is very hard to spectate at. Um, it is very hard to spectate at. Like you can get close in one or two positions, but again, look, but it is a decent track to ride, and like it's for me, it's probably a brilliant country. Uh, I was listening to Michael Laverty there the other day, and he was just reviewing the things. I think it's Chad Davies actually. I think it's Chad Davies. I think Chad Davies is now working with Mark Marquez. You remember Chad from World Superbikes, yeah? Um, but Chad has developed a software that does the ghosting. I don't know. Have you seen this on the TV yet? Where they can have Mark and Pecco or Mark and Bezzecchi start a lap at the exact same time, and they use an overlay of each other, right? So, and basically, you will see where one makes time on the other. Do you know what I mean? But they
Ah, okay.
separate them out into a ghost.
All
Do you
right.
know what I mean? So you'll see. So you see. So Mark saw this, and he approached Chad Davies to uh, to start recording him so that he can see the different lines that he's taking, and then lap by lap he can do it. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But what Laverty was showing was that the difference between the two bikes, the Ducati and the Aprilia, and basically what he was saying is like up to 80 mile an hour in corners, the Ducati is much better. It's much more stable. It's much easier, rider friendly to ride. But as it goes over 80 mile an hour is where the Aprilia aerodynamics really kick in. So then you look at Silverstone and you're like, okay, the first corner is definitely over 80 mile an hour. The second corner is definitely over 80 mile an hour. Third corner and fourth corner are under 80 mile an hour. Fifth corner is probably a little bit over. And I was just like going, well, it's definitely going to, you can understand why the Aprilia works. But with this ghosting,
I'm very curious of how the difference is going to be between the concepts of the two. Between Aprilia, who has a ground effects type um, aerodynamics, and the Ducati, who has these wings, whatever, like
yeah, yeah,
this same what I don't know how you difference, but one uses the body, one uses wings to get
yeah,
their arrow.
yeah. It is, and this ghosting that they're doing though really helps you identify and literally have a visual of seeing this is how they uh, this is where the strengths and weaknesses are, and like you can still see, like you can still see that realistically, in essence, the Aprilia is like handles like an inline four, right? And you really genuinely see the wide arcing light, not as exaggerated as an inline four, but near enough to it. Whereas you still see Mark and Pecco and Acosta in squared off out. Do you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
it's just it's really class. I try and find a clip of the ghosting, and I'll send it to you, and you will actually just go, well, that just shows the whole two different concepts at work. You know?
Yeah, good tool.
Oh, fucking AI tool is yeah. And like I'm surprised it's taken so long because like I remember playing Mario Kart when I was young, and when you were chasing the fastest lap or your best lap, you always had a ghost in front of you. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, how is this taking so long to get to MotoGP where they're trying to find all of this time? But again, it comes back to what I said earlier. The rider, and the reason why I love MotoGP is that um, the rider makes so much of a difference. Um,
I just don't want to have it so it's all rider. You know what I mean? It doesn't turn into Moto 2. And then you come in and it's whoever has the biggest pockets to buy the best riders. So you know what I mean?
yeah, but I think at
Yeah,
that
and
level of
that's what they're
MotoGP,
doing. That's what they're doing. They're dumbing down they're dumbing down the technology so Honda and Yamaha they're not going to fall behind again with their weak engineering, and then they're going to come in and buy out the Fabios and the Mark Marquez's and the you know
well, like that's the thing. Like Honda couldn't buy Marc Marquez this year.
well that's another one. He already got burned, Mark Marquez, by
Yeah,
Honda sticking it up his ass. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Having
But like,
him, having him keep up the whole team, and then looks like they're going to do the same thing with Fabio. They'll probably end up saying, "Hey, win." You know what I mean? You want the
yeah,
bike to be better, win.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Why you not win?
Outride everybody.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Why you not win? Yeah. But look, I get it. Like, but look, I suppose there's always going to be those those things happening in MotoGP, right? Like let's be very straight here, right? I don't believe for 1 second that Marc Marquez got Honda money when he re-signed with Ducati this year. Not a fucking hope.
Oh no way! They don't have the money. They
Yeah,
no.
but they're not going to give him the money, Jake. Like he turn around and he'd demand 20 million. They'd say, "Off you go to Honda," so,
Yeah,
and they will, right? Because you can.
when they don't have it. You know what I mean?
Well, A, when you don't have it. B, they're not going to pay it.
Well,
They're
you can't
genuinely
if you don't
not.
have it, but
But don't forget, like if they
anything
have
less
it,
than a stone.
that's not their philosophy. Do you know what I mean? Like again, it comes to this thing, right? Like in right in my head, right? That the way I look at it is right. You look currently right now, right? Let's just say no regulations were changing, right?
All right.
And we were continuing into next season on the current season's bikes,
Yeah.
right? And I'm Mark Marquez, and I come to you, and Aprilia have already signed their lineup, right? And I come to you as Ducati, and I say, well, if you want my services next year, it's 20 million, right? So you're head of Ducati, what do you do? There's no other bike out there that's in
Yes,
any
there's nowhere to
competition
go.
to, right? Yeah, that might be fine. You might want 20 million. You're not getting 20 million. And if you don't want to ride for Ducati on our terms, fuck off to Honda, or maybe get on a Yamaha or a KTM.
Yeah.
Best of fucking luck to you, buddy. Do you know what I mean? So for me, when I'm looking at it, like we all knew very early that Aprilia was sorted, right? so he was kind of in a closed box anyway with Ducati. They're saying Acosta took a pay decrease from KTM to go to Ducati, which I would believe. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I believe he was getting good money at KTM. Go to Ducati, but Ducati
I
aren't in
read where he
tourism.
said he always wanted to go to Ducati. I don't know how honest that is, but
Every fucking rider wanted to go to Ducati because you get on the Ducati and everyone thinks you win.
yeah.
It's one of the best bikes, you know. Like we go back 5 years ago, 6 years ago, you couldn't pay a fella to get onto an Aprilia. You
They couldn't
couldn't.
get anybody to get on a Aprilia.
Yeah, you couldn't. You
No.
fucking was it Sam Lowe's there?
Oh yeah, okay. You did say Aprilia, correct?
Yeah, Aprilia. You
No.
couldn't get. Yeah. No one could get there. You Bradley Smith, all career-ending fucking moves in MotoGP.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Now there's fucking a line down the fucking street to get on one. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. Enia Bastianini apparently is uh top of the list to sign for Trackhouse as well, which I
That's
find a
another
bit
one. I think he's kind of lost his flair.
spark. Yeah, but but then look, he's handled again. I believe he was offered a contract. He turned it down, and he's like, I'm happy with the decision I've made to where I'm going. Jack Miller is out the door
Right.
apparently. Um, I don't know, do I agree or disagree with this? I think he's struggling now at the moment to find a ride in World Supers. Apparently,
Really,
salary
I
cap.
would think he'd get a ride in Super World Super easily.
Yeah, well, no, well, this is what I heard. I don't 100% know is it true, but apparently he's looking for too much money for Supers. Like, you don't get paid the millions in World Superbikes anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so, uh, so look, I think there's a bit of negotiation done, but I think he will end up on a Honda. I've heard that Miguel Oliveira will be leaving BMW and going to Ducati in replacement of Buliga for World Supers. So it will be interesting.
We are at Moto
Also,
America.
no, he's going to go to the Aruba World
Okay.
Superbike team. Also, need to say happy birthday to Sleepwalker, one of our original podcast
Ah. Okay.
people. Was I don't know what age he was, but he's getting old now.
Well, we all.
Was it? Yeah. So yeah, look, I think there's a couple of positive weeks coming up in MotoGP. Um, Silverstone in a couple of weeks' time will be good. Um, but it all depends. Like Ayagura second in the championship at the moment. Do you know what I mean? No one in it. I didn't see that coming for him. No, I didn't. I didn't see Vasecki turning into Joe and Mir either. Do you know what I mean? And crashing all the time. But um, yeah, I think Aya is just one of those people, and I was really impressed with him in Brno, and I was really impressed with him in Aston, and even in Sachsenring. I was like, you know, he's really good at the end of the race. Do you know what I mean? Really, really good. It's just those opening laps. But then that's one of those things like 90% of the riders are either good at the first 10 laps or the last 10 laps. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's just like uh there's no complete rider. Like even Mark, you see Mark is extremely vulnerable in the first 5 laps.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? Like you can fucking duff Mark. 4 or 5 of you can duff Mark, you fuck his race like. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But so I don't know. It's very interesting how things are going to play out in the rest of the season after the summer break. Uh, yeah,
I want to hear you guys
uh,
put in a couple rides yourself, buddy. You need one.
yeah, I do. Yeah, I need to get out in the R6, especially in this weather, and
Let your
loop
hair down.
myself. I let my hair down. I don't have any hair anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. I
but
know.
yeah,
There. Well,
yeah,
run through our hair, whatever little hair we got.
yeah. I probably get more wind through the hair now if I stood in front of a fan rather than the helmet and just end up in a bog of sweat at the moment. But
Do you have to wear a
yeah,
helmet?
yeah,
You do. Okay.
yeah, yeah. It kind of makes sense though. Like you'd be a bit of a fucking idiot not to wear one. You know what I
I'm
mean?
an idiot then. If I go around the
Yeah.
block, unless I'm going a long ride,
Uh,
I'll
yeah,
just
but
jump on.
yeah, but like there's around the block, and then like I suppose very rare that I would go get in a bike to go around the block for 2 or 3 minutes. You know what I mean? It would be
Mhm.
like I'd be away off out the boondies or up. We have a mountain road here called the V, and it's
Well,
like
you know,
it's
when you start
left
going on
to
a
right side.
highway, you start getting speeds. You want the helmet on so it doesn't batter. The wind doesn't batter your ears too.
Yeah. Oh, you can see where you're fucking going. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. You know that fucking fly that you see like half a mile away, and you're going, that fucker now is going to hit me straight in the face. Like, so you can see it coming. Like, you know what I mean?
Or that bee. You
Yeah.
ever have the bee? You can see him like right here. It's last for the
Yeah.
last fleeting moment, and then smack! Ow!
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
bastard.
Yeah. Yeah. You're just like you fucker. Yeah. 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 But look, it is what it is. I love being
Oh,
out
one
in the
more
rain.
thing. I want to come in. One more thing.
Yeah.
About the Japanese fucking screwing up lately. Uh,
Mhm.
Folks, to get them to straighten out, don't blame the dealers for when it's. The other thing is they're cutting back when they get a recall. They've been Mickey Mousing the repair, like they did with the ZX6. They said retighten it, the crank
Yeah.
bearing,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
needed
Yeah.
actually replaced. They
Yeah.
had to pull the ball back in again. By the way, we were right. We had that. Remember
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
said it's never going to fly.
Yeah.
So they're doing it with all of them, right? All the different kind of screw ups. Um, and don't get on the dealer's case. Get on, call the manufacturer so they'll stop. Because if they keep, if everybody keeps letting them go, okay, and keep saying, oh, they're fine, they're going to keep doing it. They're going
That's
to
it.
keep.
Lessons learned. Well, what was it they once said about the Jets, wasn't it? About the uh, you know an notice say from the aviation company or thing authority or whatever, and they're like, you know, if you to fix some parts on your plane or whatever, do you know what I mean? And it was like it's going to cost like 1 billion or something like that, and they're like, well, a lawsuit's only 400 million. Do you know what I mean? It's like one of those things where yeah, look, you shouldn't let them get away with it, but. I, I 100% agree in don't be getting on the dealer's case, but the other side of the coin, right? And I always try to look at it both ways. A dealer selling you a bike, knowing that there's recalls, I have a problem with that. Do you know what I mean? So like if you, for example, uh, just say the ZXR6 issue, right?
Yeah,
Any good salesperson or any good dealer knows, okay, yeah, there was a faulty batch of those out there, right? And before let's just say it's a known issue. A lot of dealers will just ship out the car, sell you the car, and go, oh yeah, there was a recall on some of those. You must have one of those ones. Do you know what I mean? So I do hold the dealers very accountable that if there was a recall done and it wasn't sorted before I picked up the bike,
right.
I have an issue with that. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
you
It
say
happened.
the dealer should hold it,
The dealer should hold it and say, okay, look,
hold
your
it
bike
back.
is here, but there is a recall on the engine or this, that, and the other. It
But
should be
isn't that
done
up to
before.
the manufacturer whether they hold it or not?
Well, no, what my point is, let's just say a manufacturer has come out and said, batch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's a faulty crank
We'll
nut in
go
it.
with the Hornets. We'll go with it easy with the Hornets who
Yeah,
are all
and
bad.
just say,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. But just say, right, they've isolated the batch of them. Your bike is in that batch, right? Your
Yeah,
dealer, knowing that, shouldn't release it to you to come back again. Do you know what I mean? They should say either we're going to update that batch or your bike is delayed 6 weeks and the reason is this. You know, like a lot of people push the fucking things out the doors, and I had it there a couple of years ago with a car, right? And I bought the car brand new, brand
Right.
spanking new. And within about 3 weeks of me having the car, when I would start to drive, there was a click, right? And anyway, it it ended up being one of the shafts for the drive shaft, just one of the splines, whatever. But it was a known issue. Put it into Google, straight up it came and whatnot. And I went back to the thing to the garage, and I was like, well, look, there's something wrong here. I think it's belonged to this problem, whatever. And they're like, oh yeah, 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 we know about that issue. All right. I was like, why the fuck did you give me the car stuff?
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you
No,
know
but
what I mean? Like,
I
why did
found
you?
that motorcycle
Do you
dealers
know?
are a lot more above board than car dealers.
Yeah, but again, but that's I kind of I suppose that's my point is like with what's going on with the Japanese, I can guarantee you, I could go in and buy one of those harness from a dealer today, right, in
Think
America,
so? Yeah.
and ride out. Do you know what I mean? Within 24 hours, I'd have the bike on the road, away I go, right? Only to find out that I have to bring it back for a fucking something wrong with the
Engine
piston.
engine replacement
Do you know what I
or
mean? And I'm just like, so don't get on the dealer's case, yes, but you know, do still expect the highest, um, I suppose, highest level of responsibility from a dealer in the way that like you're entrusting them to give you a brand new bike. Do you know what I mean? And if they're giving you a brand new bike with known problems from the factory,
right. I want a new one. I want a new one. I want a new engine. I
uh,
want a new something. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I want one not from that batch.
We don't want a
You know,
ZX6 that had the crank, the crank bearings retightened and it sent my
exactly,
ass out. You know what I mean?
exactly,
Going
exactly.
10,000 RPMs with a.
Yeah, and boom. Anyway, but look, it is what it is. But look, yes, be nice to your dealer, but also keep your dealer giving you to the highest standards of what you expect as a customer from them. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, a lot of them know what's going on in the industry. A lot of them know what's going on with different bike models. And as I said, like if you're going buying a bike and they already know there's an existing problem and they let that bike out, I would have a problem with it because I'd be like, that's shit service. That's just my 2 cents. You know what I mean?
I was
But
told that
anyway,
the cars are slipping too, but I don't know cars, so I can't get a definite on it.
yeah, well, they're up against it with they're up against they're very much so up against it in the EV line of things, right? Which whether we like it or not, EVs are going to be taking over. Well, sorry, over this side of the pond.
But
The
not with
EVs are,
bikes. The EV on bikes is when flopped. That's the nosedive.
yeah, but it's just going to get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And like, but what countries will start doing over here, Jake, right, is they'll just start making it too expensive to run any sort of, how would I say, fossil fuel running car or vehicle. You know what I mean? And that'll be that. Like I can see in the next 10 or 15 years that the price of fuel, like a liter of petrol here currently, I think it's about 180, €1 80, so about $2 a liter, right? I can see that going to four and
If
five
it does,
dollars a
we're
liter.
all not just cars.
Like,
See, energy,
yeah,
energy is what fuels an economy. Period. So if it goes up, if petrol starts going through through the ceiling, it'll affect
mhm,
everything you do, everything you eat, everything you buy, everything.
exactly, exactly. And like
We'll have
that's
a
like,
depression like there's
but
never been before.
it will like I don't know how we into
We won't be
these
worried
things
about our
are.
motorcycles. We'll be worried about keeping a roof over our head.
Oh, exactly. I'll put it to you this way, right? Like for my dad put solar on his roof, right? And he now has no electricity, right? Gone. But he went to the same utility company that um that powers his, or sorry, he has natural gas at home as well, right? And so the same for, so he now gets his electricity and his gas free because of the solar generating on off the roof, right?
Now here's the
Then you,
scam.
huh?
Here's the scam.
Where
The
solar?
electricity getting from the solar panels on the roof,
Yeah.
it's a scam.
What do you mean it's
It,
a scam?
it's a scam. You get it free. The way the contract reads, you get your electricity free for a year or two, but then it changes, and you
But
end up.
solar, but if you buy your own solar panels, then you're producing your own electricity, so it is free.
It, they won't take it unless it's in the contract. They won't take their own. Like you put it up there, they won't accept the contract to buy the.
All right, to buy
You
it
know what I
back
mean?
from you, is it? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I get it. I guess. Well, that's grand. You just have battery storage banks, and you're fucking laughing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's,
Well,
I tell you, I saw.
no one's beat the system yet with them. They started out.
Well,
Then the township doesn't allow you to put the this battery storage in the backyard. You know what I mean? They really got it down that you know can't put.
yeah. Well, over here now, it's crazy. Like they're driving people on to do it, but like. I
Oh,
was I
really?
was looking at a yeah, I was looking at as well, like I think there recently Clarkson's Farm, like an awful lot of stuff it is going EV, like even like agricultural things are going, well, electrification, let's just call it, rather than EV, right? But it is running, and trucks are now a big thing that they will start going EV and all of this. It's it's going to be a big industry over here anyway, this side of the pond. You know what I mean? But um, yeah, look, I don't think there will ever be a really great electric motorbike. I know there's a few of them around, and if you've ever driven an EV, you'll understand like it has unbelievable torque. Like
Yeah.
it's just crazy. It just pulls, right? So if you're going out and having a spin on a motorbike or an EV bike, you will have a ball, right? You will miss the sound, um, but you will have a ball. No, I personally haven't ridden one, but from driving different types of EVs and understanding the power curve of them, I could only imagine a small little motor in a bike. You know what I mean? It would be crazy. Um, Not my cup of tea, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Harley has it. Harley has the Volt, where the hell it is. They sold all of 57 of them.
That's it. But you know, I think they'll grow. I think they'll. I think where they massively grow is more in Europe. Europe has a massive um, scooter kind of, what is it? The ecosystem, I suppose. So I think it will. I think electric scooters will be a big thing over there. But look, let's wait and see.
Yeah, I was out yesterday in a hurricane Lamborghini came
Oh
up
yeah,
flashing his lights at me. I'm on the MV Brutality, and he wanted to race me. I was like, are you kidding me? Boom, I was gone.
yeah. Well, they'll never learn.
Yeah.
But on that bombshell, we'll wrap it up there for today, and we will see everyone again next week.